Hi, and welcome to Soul Searchers of Spring Hill. I'm Ricky.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're back in Spring Hill and we're at 412 McLemore Avenue, where we're standing in front of
Kissing House. And we're actually just right down the street from Main Street in the historic part of Spring Hill.
And we've got not only the original owner, but the new owner here with us today. Come on in, guys. This is Bill, and this is David. David, if I'm not mistaken, you've been the owner here at the Kissing House for quite a while?
About 17 years, yeah.
Oh, wow,
17
okay.
years, yes.
And Bill, you just recently purchased the property, is
Yes,
that correct?
That's correct. We are the new stewards of the Kissing House.
Okay, great.
And fabulous stewards they are.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us today, too.
Well, thank you guys for coming. We're welcome to host you.
Okay, so Bill, obviously we both live here in town, and I've been here for a while, so I've heard lots of stories about how beautiful, of course I've seen it myself anytime I've driven by, about how beautiful this property is. And one of the things that really stands out is the architecture of the building. It's not something that you typically see. So how did that come about? What is this particular architecture called?
So the architecture that this house was built off of is commonly referred to as Carpenter Gothic. It puts an emphasis on ornate woodworking. So as you look at the house, you see a great detail with the trim being in these ornate patterns. The house was built in the 1870s by a gentleman by the name of Peter Ritter. I can only imagine using those type tools at the time to work this type of detail into a house.
Do you have any idea at all how long it took for them to build the house?
I don't know how long it took to build the house, but I could assume it took quite some time.
Probably a lot longer than it does nowadays, right?
Yes, especially with the amount of detail.
That's what makes it so beautiful and stand out so much. Do you know whether or not there are any other locations in Spring Hill that have the same design?
Yes, there's actually one other location that has a very similar architecture. It's the Grace Episcopal Church off of Main Street. And it was a common theme to have houses of that time period built to this standard. I mean, it was additional work, but it kind of gave a uniqueness to the house. The local Spring Hill area, there's very few historic locations still standing, and there's some reasoning behind that. There was a major fire in the 20s that destroyed a lot of the downtown infrastructure, and then in the 60s there was a tornado that struck downtown. So I think that's one of the reasons there's very few.
Well, and I think
left.
if I'm not mistaken, I had heard that this particular property was very fortunate to survive the tornadic storm. Is that correct?
No, the story is that it actually destroyed houses on both sides. It essentially jumped over, and I've heard that it was actually lifted off its foundation and placed back down. So it's had kind of a storied or magical past to it. So
Yeah, it looks like maybe it was a little protected there, huh?
Yeah. A little karma bubble, if you will.
Okay, well, let's move around to the rest of the property.
Sure.
So not only is this house very unique in the way it looks, but there's also a unique story that's attached to the home. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, it's quite unique. Actually, the house got on a national register because of it was the first breach of contract suit that was brought in the United States, and that came about because of a lady who lived here, Sarah. Well, it came about because Sarah Odell. She was a younger girl who fell in love with a older man by the name of Hugh Brown. So the parents weren't really comfortable with that, but their daughter loved him and all that. So he wanted to marry her. Okay, but he was married at the time, so that was really taboo. Then he said, "But my wife is dying." Okay, she's very, very ill, and so we're very much in love. So since she's going to die here very soon, I'd like to have a little mourning period, and then we would get married after that. So reluctantly, the parents agreed. So he went off to Nashville to work. So while he was out there, she found out that he was kissing all these other women. He got caught kissing this girl out in Nashville, a couple other ones. So she was devastated, because here's this guy proclaimed his love and all that. Now he's caught messing around with these women in Nashville. So to her credit, she sued him for breach of promise.
Wow.
And she went to court, And guess what? His wife wasn't dying. She was fine and all that, and she won the lawsuit. And I think she won about $2,600, and she used the money for this house.
Wow.
And that's how the name the Kissing House came, because it's the house that Kisses bought. And history is like the teardrops along the roof and all. They say that was her tears from her broken heart and all that. But so
Wow, that's a great story.
that's basically the story of the Kissing House in a nutshell. And they also they've written a play about it as well,
Okay.
that they used to perform here in the local theater
Okay.
for the past oh my goodness, decades.
Wow.
And I believe the current owners have a copy of that as well.
Wow.
And they're fabulous people, by the way. The new owners, fabulous.
Okay, so now we're back here along the side towards the back of the property, and one thing I noticed right off the bat is this is pretty nice looking and unique looking as well. Looks like it's part of the same structure. Was this part of the original building or not?
No, so the expansion of what we see here to the right, as well as the garage, was built in the 1930s. It was an expansion off the historic home. It follows the same architecture, which is very nice. It's a unique structure. They actually built over an old root cellar as well, so the attention to detail follows the same as a historic home.
Right. Well, they did a great job because it really looks completely authentic all the way through.
Yeah.
And it's been well kept as well. And so, what has the use of the property always been a residential property?
Yes, it since conception, it's always been a residence. We're looking to expand on that. We're looking at this as a historical reuse, to be able to open the property to the community to help preserve the home, as well as open it to the community for visits, etc.
Yeah, that would be great.
And it's known as the Kissing House, but it's also known as the
Ritter Morton House, yes.
Okay.
And Peter Ritter was the original owner, and Odin was the person who registered it for the historic register for federal purposes. So.
Okay, so we talked a good deal about the outside and the structure of the property. So I'm excited, Brian, aren't you?
Yeah,
Let's go in.
Let's do it. Let's go inside.
Welcome to the Kissing House.
So we're inside the Kissing House, and this very first room that you come to is right off of the gorgeous entryway that has a very pretty staircase leading upstairs. And of course, right off the bat, you notice this very attractive fireplace, and not something that you see as frequently in houses that are built today. And I noticed that there seems to be one in the other room as well, and that was another thing that I know was a lot more common in the olden days, to have multiple fireplaces.
Yeah, it's fireplaces on both sides. They've been converted to gas. They're still very ornate and beautiful. A lot of detail, not only went into the outside, but the inside. You can look at the crown molding, the detail applied to that. And I think the reason for having the dual fireplace is to be able to heat two spaces essentially at one time. So
Sure.
It was very common.
Yeah, and then of course the very high ceilings.
Yes,
Do you know
which
how
is-
high the ceiling is here? Is it
I would
What?
guess around 13 feet.
I was
which
gonna
is,
say 14?
yeah, which is very rare for older buildings as well.
Right. Okay, so if you don't mind, if you'd kind of like take us around,
Sure.
and we'll do a little tour.
So this room would have been what would the living area, kind of
Yeah.
living room, sitting area.
Yes, so the historic home, so we're moving from kind of the blue room to the red room.
Okay.
Once again, here's the other side of the fireplace.
Okay. What would this room
I think
be?
this would have been more of like a living quarters. There's no plumbing in the house.
Sure,
They would
sure.
have had an older style outhouse on the property.
Right.
Heating up water fast, etc.
And kitchens were normally outside of the home anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. No, so,
Okay.
and moving from the historic home. There's the expansion, which was
So this is the original right here, and then we're moving to the expansion here.
Correct,
All
yes.
right, let's take a look at this.
Yeah, and there's some, unique details to this part of the home as well. There's an older claw-style bathtub
Absolutely.
from the 30s. The previous owner, as he was going through the restoration process, was able to show some of the innate detail of the older home. So this would have kind of been the outside wall of
Sure.
the old home.
Okay.
And we're actually standing over the root cellar. So that would have been in use. We've actually gone under the house and found some relics. We've also found like old pieces of coal, so it's completely feasible that they actually heated the house through coal. So
Wow, that's great.
pretty interesting.
So Bill, when you come up the stairs, typically this area of the house would be the bedrooms, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is, once again, we're back in the historic home.
Sure.
And this would be the upstairs. There is a bedroom to our right, and this would be kind of like a common area. Some of the unique features of this home, not only having the tall ceilings, but in the upstairs, they've utilized the space unique for the time period, and also the windows being as large as they are is not very typical, especially for like an upstairs in an older home. So
Yeah. And you know why the windows were so low like they are?
the windows being tucked away, I assume it was for a practical purpose,
Sure,
like
sure.
ventilation. It is a bit warm up here.
Absolutely.
Part of me pictures maybe Sarah crying by the window or something to that effect, but
Sure.
I think it was just for, the ability to keep it cool up here. So.
Well, this concludes our tour, and at least this documentary anyway, of the Kissing House for today. And I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot more about this property, and we'll probably be able to even come here and visit it yourself sometime soon. But thank you so much, Bill and
you.
David, for having us. We really appreciate it. It's been
Thank
a
you.
lot of fun.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting you.